Dead by Daylight is about to become absolutely terrible for every killer, and that's because of significant changes that are coming to Dead by Daylight within the next 2 weeks. Slugging's getting an update so survivors can pick themselves up off the floor. Tunneling's getting an update where it's being made actually impossible, and Myers is being made into a dash slop killer. So let's go through this patch together and see how bad it really is. So first up, we've got the slugging reduction update. And the first point says, if a survivor is left in the dying state for a total of 90 seconds during a match, they gain the ability to pick themselves up after fully recovering. And there's 2 notes with this point. They added the option to enable or disable this mechanic in a custom game, which is so nice, and the perks that enable you to recover from the dying state, like exponential, will continue to function as before without needing to meet this requirement. Yay. So the 2 main gripes I have with this is I don't like how it makes a lot of already existing perks essentially redundant. And there is no cap to this. People can essentially pick themselves up in a match an infinite amount of times over and over again. Granted, they do need to be left on the floor for 90 seconds, and I think for a lot of people, this isn't going to be overly significant, purely because you will only realize the 90-second time window if you are playing for slugging. I do, however, think this is quite healthy for the game, purely because if you are leaving a survivor on the ground for 90 seconds, which is a very long time. A Dead by Daylight match is probably going to last 10 minutes at the maximum. So, given that you're leaving them on for 90 seconds, that's going to be 1.5 minutes, and you're actually just going to be going for a slugging playstyle, which I think is good that they're incentivizing this not to happen so the game can continue, and you can give those survivors a chance without them just dying on the floor. Where I absolutely hate this, though, is the fact that a lot of perks and a lot of builds now just got completely and utterly removed. And a significant portion of pressure for killer is now kind of redundant without any sort of alternative. And it also says that it gradually increases crawling speed for survivors who are left in the dying state. And they added the ability to survivors to be able to recover while crawling. Recovery now occurs passively with no need to hold a button. So one of 2 things is going through my head. Either tenacity, which is the perk that enables you to recover and crawl at the same time and crawl quicker, is either going to become completely and utterly redundant, or it's going to become the most busted perk in the game, and you're just going to be able to neum around the map and the survivor and the killers aren't even going to be able to catch you. They do say, however, that they have updated several survivor and killer perks to account for these changes. How they've changed them, or what ones they've changed, I don't know. I don't like this update for 2 reasons. One, because I don't particularly like how it can be used, or at least from how it's written, over and over again. I think a system like this is great to give a survivor, or to give survivors a second chance, and to mitigate games where you're just being left on the ground. But I don't think it should be able to be used more than once. And I really dislike, from a survivor point of view, that this removes a very interesting and unique playstyle of the game, like going for things where you're deliberately on the ground. Like, I can imagine Power Struggle now being insanely strong because you're recovering quicker, or just those sort of builds, like being made more either extremely powerful or just redundant completely, with Unbreakable just not having too much of a use now. We'll have to see how they've changed the perks, but right now, from this point, it just seems a little bit nuts to just let every single survivor in the game pick themselves up an infinite amount of times. And what they've mainly said in the dev notes, I very much agree with. I like their sentiment to try and make the survivor side more fun. Slugging is no fun for anyone, and I think it is really good to incentivize the lack of leaving people on the ground infinitely. And next up, we've got the tunneling reduction update. And if you didn't think the slugging thing was bad, this is heinously bad, and I have quite a few things I strongly disagree with here. So first up, it says when a survivor is hooked, their hook status is hidden from the killer. When they're unhooked, there is no notification, and their hook status isn't revealed immediately. So for people who aren't Dead by Daylight savvy, what this means is that little red bar you get where it essentially says, oh, you're this close to dying, or oh, you're on your second stage, stuff like that, that will be hidden. And when someone gets unhooked, and you normally get a big bling, like, oh, they're over here, this person got saved, that is not going to be shown. And also, that will be delayed. So essentially, you'll be going about your business, and maybe a 10 seconds, something like that, they will send a not send a notification, but the HUD will update, and it will essentially say, hey, this person has been unhooked, and you won't be able to react very quickly. And it says that all of these are disabled when the generators are completed. See, this, bar one thing, I don't think is too bad. The one thing I do think is bad about it is the lack of information for killers. The best thing, and the best thing you can learn as a skiller's killer, is learning what information you have and how to act on that information. And knowing where someone's got unhooked, what happened when, and how someone is on a certain hook state is a very significant piece of information for killers generally. And having this completely removed is quite significant for me, because there's been multiple times where knowing someone's been unhooked over there, so there's two people over there, like I know there's two people over there, and then being able to pressure the rest of the map and just being able to get that natural pressure and just that information of, oh, there's people over there, or oh, this has happened over there, has helped so much in winning games. And having this information completely removed and or delayed is such a significant piece of information that is taken away from the killer. And let me just say, I think tunneling is good in certain situations. I think tunneling, straight off the bat, you find one survivor, you go straight towards them until they're dead. Like, that I think is a bit of a pissy playstyle. And tunneling is a piece of thing you have in your toolkit to be able to win. Like, let's say you've played fairly and all that, but then the game starts going south. What are you going to do? Just the easiest way to make the game go in your favor is get someone dead. What are you going to do? You're going to tunnel. And unfortunately, there's just a little bit of a playstyle, and just removing the ability to kind of do that is a little bit silly in my opinion. But let's move on to the unhooked survivor effects that the survivor gets when being unhooked now. So, unhooked survivors gain the following effects for a limited time: haste, endurance, and elusive. See below for status effects. No collision with other players, both killer and survivor, so base layer of the coast, that's a nice one. I'm sure that won't cause any bugs. Immunity to killer instinct, and sees the killer's aura nearby, so essentially they've got kindred. These effects are lost when the affected survivor performs a conspicuous action. So for anyone who doesn't know, a conspicuous action is essentially making an action which progresses the game. So healing a survivor, unhooking a survivor, doing a generator, cleansing a totem, like stuff like that that progresses the game further is classed as a conspicuous action. It's the same with decisive strike. Decisive strike removes that. And last but not least, all these effects except haste and endurance are disabled once all generators are completed. But so we know what we're talking about with elusive status effects, basically the elusive status effects adds a new effect that silences grunts of pain and suppresses the survivor's aura, pools of blood, and scratch marks. So essentially they've got distortion, off the record, and iron will just for free. So yeah, it purely depends how long this new status effects last for. I don't think these effects are that bad, but what I do think is bad is the immunity to killer instinct, or like reading auras. Once again, it depends how long they last for. If it just lasts for the 15 seconds that it goes on for, but like let's say their aura isn't readable for like 2 minutes, that's going to be nuts. We need to find out the actual numbers before I go mental, because I think I'm gonna have a heart attack reading more of this. But thankfully, they've added some benefits to killers, and these are, they've added a unique effect to the killer's hook state UI, which indicates the last survivor they hooked. This, I think, is great, because at least then if I optionally want to go for someone else, I can go for someone else, but they've got to address the issue when you're going against multiple of the same survivors. There's so many survivors in Dead by Daylight, such as Sable being the most popular. Many games I will go against 2 Sables, or I'll go against 2 Claudettes, or I'll go against 2 Stevens. If I can't differentiate between them accurately without something like visually on my screen when I'm chasing them, and then I'm punished for tunneling them, and like, I don't want to tunnel them, but I just get them because it's more time to go and find someone else. So I just go for the person that's in front of me. But the fact that I'm going to be punished now from just going for someone who's there that I didn't even want to go for, it just happened because the UIs, yeah, they need to make something that would differentiate. Maybe they're highlighted in yellow, so I know that I avoid the fucking yellow person. But for now, when there's so many duplicates you get in games, this is going to be really annoying. But these are the bonuses they give to Killer if you hook someone unique. So after completing a unique hook, the same survivor is not hooked consecutively, killers get the following benefits: bonus damage for the next generator kick, temporary haste status effect, temporarily reveal survivors, think base, skip, barbecue, and chili, that have less or equal hook states to the hook survivor. These effects slightly lessen for the Blight, the Dark Lord, the Ghoul, the Hillbilly, and the Nurse. And these effects are disabled once all generators are completed. This was the thing I was looking for. I'm glad they're incentivizing killers to go for other people, but unfortunately, none of these positives are ever going to outweigh the positive of getting someone dead. In Dead by Daylight, the best way you can to win a game, or the easiest way, is make it from a 4v1 to a 3v1. The efficiency completely and utterly crumbles for survivors, and you've pretty much won the game at that point. So once again, it kind of goes back to how powerful the haste is. If it's a case you get like Clown's level of haste for maybe 5 seconds, then it is a bit piss poor. If it's maybe a case that the generator kit gives you 5% extra, then that's a bit piss poor. If it is a case that it's significantly better, that it is incentivized to going for a unique survivor, then that's okay. But I can't imagine they'll make it too significant, because then once again it's just going to combine with perks like Pop Goes the Weasel and other things and other haste perks to just make absolutely heinous things. And once again, if people can use the fringe bullshit builds, they will. They just will. So unfortunately, we need to kind of see how powerful these status effects are and how long they last to really gauge how good they are. But currently, it seems like it's a bit of a bad trade for essentially being told, if you tunnel, we're going to kick you in the teeth and then see how much blood drips out. And here's the kicker. They've added new effects that disincentivize tunneling. If a survivor dies before 6 total hook states, all remaining survivors gain a repair speed bonus for the rest of the trial. Fun. If the survivor that was last hooked is sacrificed or killed, generators cannot be regressed or blocked. I cannot even explain how stupid I think this is. See, the first thing doesn't seem that bad, but the second thing of generators cannot be regressed or blocked seems absolutely bollocks. So if accidentally I end up killing someone just like that, they're saying this is lasting for the whole match. They're not saying till the next person's hooked. Like, I'm assuming here that this is for the whole match. And if this is for the whole match, so if I kill someone early on accidentally, because like let's say I find a survivor, this Steve situation again. There's 2 Steves, 2 of them in the game. I accidentally find the other one. I didn't know it was the same person, but I don't want to go and abandon him and go for someone else because it wastes time. I'm not intentionally tunneling. I'm just playing the game and they appeared. I end up killing them, and then for the next whole game, say for the 4 gens, I can't fucking stop the generator. I can't stop the gens. They're essentially saying at this point, use our little incentivized system, don't tunnel people, or we will kick you in the teeth so painfully that your face won't be recognizable. See, what I hate about this is there is no differentiation between the accidental tunneling and the actual tunneling. There has been multiple occasions where I've just accidentally tunneled someone. People are wearing the same skins. Oh, the person dies. Oh, the person ran in front of me and I decided to kill them because I'm a killer and they were just running in front of me and they just die. Like, if someone's in front of me, I'm going to kill them, whether you're being tunneling or not. And I technically tunneled them, but then now in those situations that I'm going to be penalized so heavily is nuts. I agree that tunneling is bad, really bad. I don't like how it upsets people, but there needs to be some sort of differentiation between the intentional tunneling and the accidental someone just ran in front of my face. Because in this situation, someone could have the survivor buffs, they could literally run in front of my face, body block, and I am not allowed to kill them. They are essentially completely off the table. If I kill them, if I put them on hook, then I suffer extremely badly. How this is proposed right now is it makes one survivor literally immune. Like, let's say I'm the one who just got last hooked. I can go in front of the killer. Oh, they slug me. Oh, I'm just able to get myself up off the floor. Oh, they hook me. Oh, well, it looks like they're not going to be able to kick generators at all. Oh, they killed me. Then my friends get loads and loads of progress towards gens. I become immune, and if they kill me, then they're screwed. I really dislike that. And then the last 2 bullet points state that they added the option to enable or disable these new mechanics in custom games, so it looks like I'm going to be playing custom games forevermore, so I can disable them. And they updated several survivor and killer perks to account for these changes. And then there's been an update to the tomes lore. Updated the tomes menu to feature new tomes and accompanying lore alongside each chapter release. So that's good, you can read about how William Afton is more of a bastard inside of there. And they've added new lore that is unlockable each week within the active tome. There isn't really anything wrong with this. I think it's great. I personally was someone who read the lore quite frequently. I think it's quite good. I like learning more about DBD. And yeah, can't really complain that much. And then we've got the biggie, the big change to the shape. And he's been waiting for an update for quite a while. So I'm kind of glad in a way that he's being changed from boring look from a distance at girls. So yeah, that's one good thing. But let's read through what's changed about him. They have replaced Evil Within with 2 modes that can be toggled with the button press. Stalker mode. He has 4.2 meters a second movement speed, undetectable, and can stalk survivors. Pursuer mode. 4.6 meters a second, movement speed, 24 meter terror radius, increased volt speed, bonuses to lunge range, break speed, and stun recovery, and cannot stalk survivors. Once the stalk meter is full, Evil Incarnate mode can be triggered at will, granting the following effects for a limited time. 4.6 movement speed, but 40 meter terror radius and an increased bolt speed. Unlocks the Slaughtering Strike ability, which is probably his biggest change. Slaughtering Strike ability. Hold the power button to charge this ability, reducing movement speed. Press the attack button while charging to quickly lunge forward, adjusting your angle as you move. The length of the lunge depends on the charge time. If a survivor enters the killer's attack range while lunging, they will be knocked into the dying state. This ability can be used to destroy pallets. So yeah, this is absolutely terrible in my opinion. You've taken what was interesting about Myers, the stalking and the sort of looking out, the stealth killery stuff, and you've completely removed that and you've replaced it with dash slop. And for anyone who doesn't know what dash slop is, it's Dead by Daylight's tendency to just resort to making everything move quicker in a forward direction. Oh, Victor, he's dash slop. Oh, Blight, he goes quickly. Oh, Nurse, he teleports. Oh, Wesker, he dashes forward. Oh, Demogorgon, he has a dash. Oh my god, wow, the Dracula, he has a dash too. No way, Karnaki, does he have a dash? So yeah, you get my point. They've essentially taken the most overused part of DBD and they've just added it to the biggest horror icon in gaming. I think this is utterly boring purely because you're stalking people to get the ability to rush at them. And you've got nothing really else. Like, oh, he's a little bit quicker of a base killer movement speed and can vault a little bit quicker and has a longer lunge while switching the mode. But other than that, he just stalks and then can get a fucking dash. It's just, how boring does it have to be? And then, okay, yeah, people get insta down to the dying state. So they've managed to make what was something already boring for survivors even more boring for the survivor and the killer. This is probably the most boring killer I can imagine now, probably topping Skull Merchant for dullness. And this would be so boring for the survivors because they stalk and then they just get rushed by a weird fucking knifey bloke. They have as well adjusted some of the mechanics of stalking, removed the limited pool of stack points per survivor, so now, yeah, you can dash forever. Yay, lucky you. Oh, they've reduced the stalk range to 32 meters and removed distance modifiers, and they've moving while stalking has increased movement speed but incurs a reduced stalk rate. And they've reworked its add-ons. This is going to be unfun to play against a survivor because you get insta-downed while dashing. This is going to be unfun to play as killer. This just is boring, for lack of a better word, really boring. They've also as well made some minor updates to the clown by increasing the activation time of the afterpiece antidote and increased how long the afterpiece tonic hindered effects lingers after leaving the smoke. So basically, the yellow bottle has a longer time to activate to go from white to yellow, pretty much what he was originally, and this pink potion causes people to be affected for longer. So they've actually brought the skill back to clown, which is quite nice. Overall, pretty good. What I would have liked to see is an extra third bottle that you could chuck at survivors to make them obese, but then again, we'll hold out hope that that will be added in a later patch. And then the Unknown has received a medium update, and they've increased the additional time added to weakened when injured by UVX projectile. They've increased movement speed recovery after teleporting. They've increased his camera's vertical range and adjusted several add-ons. So basically, his UVX will take longer to disappear if you get repeatedly hit by it. His clones or his hallucinations will be even more deadly because he can just go really quickly after teleporting to them, and essentially he's able to get better curving or things from being able to look higher or stuff like that to shoot you, which I think is pretty interesting overall. Overall, pretty good changes, and increases the actual skill of the Unknown player because you can get better plays and better angles with having more range for it now and longer to act on them. And the Dark Lord, or Dracula, has received a medium update, and essentially these just adjust a few numbers and make his other forms a bit stronger or a bit weaker. So the vampire form has slightly reduced Hellfire cooldown. It also increased total Hellfire pillars by 1, reduced Hellfire charge movement speed, and then slightly increased slowdown time after casting Hellfire. Also, his wolf form has increased pounce attack charge time and increased the centaur spawn time, and his bat form has increased movement friction to make flying easier to control, and a few of his add-ons have been adjusted because of this. I don't think this was overly needed for the Dark Lord. He's kind of quite a powerful killer if you know how to play him very well. He's very strong, he's got something for every situation, and making his ranged attack more powerful and making his bat form easier to control, it just seems a bit like over buffing an already buffed killer. Please go and buff Trapper instead. And then there's been a medium update to the Ghoul, and honestly, this has one thing which I've been waiting to be changed for a while. No, not a mute button for his godforsaken audio, but it has basically done when grabbing a survivor on the other side of a vault with Carnegie Leap, the survivor is released at the start of the Ghoul's vault instead of at the end. Basically, for people who didn't know, there was an issue for a long time where you could hit a survivor on the other side of a pallet and you would animate over it, go for it, get the damage state, and then they'd be released. So essentially they would lock you in place and you couldn't get distance, making pallets pretty much a winnable situation in every situation with the Ghoul. Now you'll have the chance to run and you can just leg it away, which I think is really, really good. Quite a good change. Well done, devs. And then there's been a minor update to the Oni. By hooking a survivor now spawns more blood orbs, so you're essentially just giving you more power. Very minor change. I doubt a lot of people will notice this. You'll get more blood orbs from running perks that keep survivors injured for longer and just hitting them. And then they've been extremely descriptive with the perk updates by saying they've updated various perks, which is really handy when I'm trying to make a video about all of the changes. So yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of this update. I think this is going to be quite a rough time for Killer for a while, so all of you Killer mains, lock in, go and get some alcohol because you're going to need it. But let me know what you think about these changes down in the comments. I'd be curious to hear what you think, because maybe I'm delusional. But if you like this video at all, I guarantee you should click on this video that's coming up next.